Hi there, my name is Cynthia Wakio, and today I'm sitting down with Pamina Swainaina, and he's going to be telling us his story on how he knew it was time to turn his side hustle to a full-time business. Asante for coming.
Thank you, Cynthia.
So let's start us off by telling us your experience having a side hustle while fully employed.
Yeah, so I remember way back when I was starting, and it was quite an interesting journey because I didn't set out to be in business. So I know there are people who sit and they come up with a business plan, but for me, it wasn't the case. I remember I started small. You know, you have one or two people asking for the service. That's recruitment. We started at that low level of recruitment. I remember people asking for drivers, people asking for messengers. And it took me a bit of time to realize that this is actually a business. It's something that now I can do as a business. And so, as you've rightly indicated, that time I was employed. And there are three challenges I faced during that period. And the first one was the issue of time management. Because now here you have an 8 to 5 job. It's a job that you have to deliver. The employer has certain expectations, and yet you're running something on the side. And also the clients, they have their own expectations because no one is going to give you money, Cynthia, just for the sake of it. So the first issue was how do you balance the two, in terms of time management. And I remember I used to wake up very early. I know you've met Owen, our IT guy, and he'll tell you I used to be at his cyber at as early as 6 a.m. to try and do some work. And then after I leave work in the evening at 5:30 p.m., I'll then again go to his cyber because those days, having a laptop was not a joke. Eh? Nowadays, anyone, even kids have laptops. So I remember those days, any laptops were going for 120,000, a basic laptop. So that's the way I managed in terms of time. The second challenge was the issue of focus. And here, I would say I hadn't really figured out what I would offer to the market. So yes, here I was starting in HR. It was HR consultancy. So sometimes someone would come with a HR need, for example, interpretation of labor laws. Another person would come with recruitment. So I was spread all over. So at that time, at that startup stage, while I was still combining employment and the side hustle, I really didn't know what to focus on. Obviously, over time, I've gotten to know what I'm passionate about, what works for me, what the market requires. But at that time, focus was an issue. And then the third thing was feeling guilty, especially now when the business started to take off, because my time was split between the employer and the side hustle. I remember there are times now I would look at my watch and see, oh, it's 12:30. When are we going to get to 1 p.m. because I had to dash to town, either go and meet a client or go correct a check. I remember there's a time now when the website was up because at one point I had to come up with a website and I was having an issue with the IT guy. So coordinating, rushing there over lunch hour, coming back, evening, going there. So it wasn't easy. That's what I would say, combining the two. And those are the top three challenges. Yeah.
Now, following this experience, how did you know now it was time to turn your side hustle into a full business?
Like I said at the beginning, I really didn't set out to really do business. And I admire those people who come up with a business plan and things work for them. And if that's your approach and it suits you, well and good. So for me, the things I looked up at, number one was the level of income. So I remember when I started earning 60 to 70% of what I was earning as an employee, and it was consistent. That was a good sign that, oh, this thing can work. I can actually now be in business. So at that time, the income was regular. So that gave me that confidence that, wow, things are working. Yeah, so that is the first thing that I looked at. The second thing I paid attention to was understanding my customers and the market needs. So remember, I gave you the example where the focus was an issue at the beginning. I was all over. So over time, I realized, well, okay, I think I'm better off starting with recruitment than the other HR aspects. Why? Because I didn't have a lot of experience in the other HR areas. So, but at the beginnings, recruitment was straightforward. Because if someone comes and tells me, hire for me an admin person, so I could be able to see the end results. This is what they want. How does a good admin person look like? Yeah. So I knew now my area of focus was going to be now recruitment. Obvious, now the business has expanded. So we not only do recruitment, we'll do HR support services, we do also training, we do payroll services. So this came later now, me having mastered one aspect of the business. The other thing I looked at was confidence on my part. As I shared with you earlier on, when I was starting the business, I was also quite young. I was at the age of 29 years. I know some people watching this might feel like 29 years is too old, even for you. However, remember at that age, I really didn't have a lot of experience because I had only worked for 5 years. I had only been employed for 5 years. I didn't have managerial experience. I didn't have marketing skills. I wasn't even a marketer. And in any business, marketing is key because without marketing, you don't have customers. And if you don't have customers, you don't have a business. Yeah. So it so happened that now I started becoming confident. I could go for presentation, I could do pitches, and I could do a good job, and I could see clients coming back. So that one gave me confidence. And so I would say those are the things I looked out for, and I could connect now the dots in terms of the income, in terms of me understanding the market, and in terms of even me having the confidence in terms of now delivering to the expectations of the client. And I would say, yeah, that's what made me feel deep inside that now I'm ready to branch. And the next step I did is I resigned. I gave a 1 month notice. It was quite interesting because I remember my former boss, the person who hired me, he had left for another institution, but we kept in touch. So when he heard that I had left, so he called me. He asked me, what are you doing? I heard you've got into business. He's a 55-year-old man. Here I am at 29. So he was wondering, what's wrong with this young man? At 29, me, I'm 55. You want to get into business? Whereas, well, he was, it was for him, it was bittersweet in the sense that congratulations for the bold move, but also he also questioned, are you making the right move? Because also seeing at the same time I was starting my family. So there was all these stakes that it had to work. Yeah, but anyway, I resigned. Yeah, and that's where the business began.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And for any person who has now a side hustle while fully employed,
Yeah.
what advice, according to your experience, would you give them?
For me, there are a few things they need to consider. And number one is to start small. I know now, if you look at the business, the current business, corporate staffing services, what I do as a HR consultant, I mean, 25 employees, direct employees, some other 20 employees working for other employers. You look at it and think, wow, I want to be there 1, 2 years. Unfortunately, that's not how it works. I was sharing with someone yesterday that it took me close to 3 years after I left to earn what my employer was giving me. Yeah, because I remember now when I left, it was the year 2008. There was these financial problems. So I resigned like today. 3 months later, there were all these financial issues. And I remember the economy was not doing well. So if I didn't have a support system in terms of back home, I mean, things would really have gone down south. So please don't be afraid to start small. Anything you look at right now, big, even if it's Safaricom, they all started small. The other thing is to know your numbers. And knowing your numbers, there are two ways, there are two issues here. Your numbers in terms of income. Because today, if you resign today from your job, there's a certain, your life, you need a certain amount of money to survive. How do you take care of yourself? Now, the difference between a job and being self-employed is that a jobs give you some sense of comfort and guarantee in the sense that if you don't mess up, you still have your job. However, business, there's no guarantee. Today you'll be at the top, tomorrow you are not. So ask yourself, what's the minimum amount that I need to survive? And see, can the business be able to provide this even during its worst period? Yeah. The other thing is have a plan B, because you never know. There's nothing wrong. For me, I had vowed I'll not go back to employment. However, And yes, indeed, I didn't go back, but there was a lot of luck because at that time the competition was not as tough as it is right now. If you are looking to get into consultancy, especially HR consultancy, it's not as easy as it was. During my period, it was a bit easy because we weren't many of us. So for now, I would ask you, if you plan B, it doesn't have necessarily for you to go back to employment. It could be, do you have another investment that gives you a bit of money that, can come in during those tough times? And two other things. Number one, if it works for you, set a deadline. So if you don't want to be employed, if you're thinking about business, it's always good. So for example, we're in 2022. So you can say, for me, 2024, August, 2 years to come, I don't want to be on my own. So give yourself that pressure. I've seen also that one work. Yeah. And lastly, it's never easy. So surround yourself with people who have the same mindset. Yeah. You get to realize entrepreneurship is very lonely, in the sense that people only see the big car, people only see the nice house, the nice office, but they don't understand the struggles. So it's even worse at the beginning. So that time you need someone to encourage you, you need someone you can confide in, you need someone you can trust and share your frustrations. Yeah, so I'd say for me, those are the lessons I've learned over time. And if you're going to make it, it's really important for you to be prepared for the journey ahead. Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much for sharing your journey with us.
Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you for watching. For more tips on how to start a business in Kenya, please subscribe to our channel. See you next time.